So I said to him, and I was talking to him, and I told him, listen, I've been in this business for nearly 4 days now. I know how to sing, and he wouldn't believe me. So I was just like, let me show you with the power of my voice. I never worked in theatre again.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. To review every Star Trek movie and episode in existence. To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where many other YouTube shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trekking Up North. I'm your host, as ever, Captain Goodwill of the USS Adequate, and joining me is the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk.
No, it's not the planet Honk. It's the planet Honk. It has to be done for the magic of song.
Shall we harmonize our honks?
Harmonionize.
Harmonionize, yes.
Harmonionize. Okay.
Harmonionize.
Okay.
Harmonionize.
We'll do it. Let's have a go. I don't know what note we're aiming for, but let's give it a go. Okay.
That one.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
That worked much better than last time.
Wow, yeah, that only took 2 takes and a broken microphone and USB power supply. Okay, take 2 is in the bag.
I had to restart my computer because I did the honk really, really loudly. And my computer just went, all USB devices need to stop. You know?
When Synoiz, when a Geesian sings, it downs an entire USB grid.
Hold on, what's the thing from Discovery called? The
burn.
Did I just do the Geesian burn? Is that what we had?
The Geesian burn is so basic, it just shuts down USB 3.0s across the universe.
Yeah, this thing where everyone's like, oh, my controller stopped working.
USB-C
it's like a mild inconvenience rather than like
USB-Cs are fine, but USB females, ironically, are screwed because of the Geesian honk.
That's the closest I've got to screwing a female. I'm going to give it that. At best, it's Lee in a wig. So, hi Lee, by the way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trekking Up North. We are professional. And thankfully, we don't have a guest to impede on this nonsense this week.
Hello to Lee in a wig. If you've probably not guessed already.
I love the idea of it's like my dreams of my perfect woman. And it's literally just Lee in a wig. But like, not like made up properly or anything. It's just we put a cheap shake and bake wig on Lee and some lipstick. And I'm just like, yeah, I could totally be straight.
See, my perfect woman will be Lee in a wig where Lee's got a well-maintained car. Anyway, if you haven't guessed already, this is a pre-recorded Trekking Up North due to scheduling issues because we are very in-demand people in the world of things.
Because I'm in bloody London tomorrow because it's DragCon. So I'm going to be on my heels all weekend interviewing all the wonderful queens. And it's amazing because we requested interviews with like loads and loads of like really famous queens and they all got accepted. And we're like, oh, great. I guess we're chatting to this person, you know, which is really amazing, but also a bit nerve wracking. So yeah, I thought, and because I'll be in London, I was like, do I want to do this in a hotel room and take a whole like, or, you know, like desk mic with me? No, let's pre-record. So sorry, everyone, but hope you're having a good evening.
Just wait until we're in Vegas and we're doing this shit on the road. That's all I'm going to say.
Are we going to have to take like a proper mic with us in the suitcase for
yeah.
no other purpose than like doing this?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for TSA to go, yo, what's that phallic-looking thing in the suitcase? It's just, okay, doctor, it's my microphone.
Yeah, that's my penis. Here's my microphone.
Ironically, both USB powered.
Yeah, that's why it's fallen off now.
Yes.
That's why it's disconnected because of the Geesian burn.
There was a power surge and now it's constantly on mute. Yes, so we are pre-recording this episode of Trekking Up North. It has been a week for both me and Synoiz. Me very quickly, working very hard behind the scenes, trying to get the year planned for Trekking Up North, and being on, I think I've been on 5 other podcasts in the last week, and like, have you slept, Michael? Well, I did finish a podcast at 2 a.m. That's not sleeping. Well, so yeah, huge shout out to Unplanned Trek for allowing me to be on and talking bullshit.
I love the episode that you were doing as well. Like, I haven't seen the full thing yet, but it's the fact of like where the sexiest. Let's looking through the sexiest episodes of Trek.
Yes, this is episode 48 of 50 of 50 Shades of Trek, reviewing the sexiest episodes of Trek. And I actually more or less demanded that we do Our Man Bashir purely because Garrick's in a turtleneck, and who is not aroused by light choking. So
light choking amateur.
The pips make it better. Sorry. So it's been a long way, and then obviously I've actually encountered a slightly toxic angle of Trek this week, where I had someone.
I think though, like before we go into it, that the double sider of this one is nearly said double ender there, and I was like, oh, different kind of weekend, but it's the
bit of give and take.
What happens in Vegas stays on Vegas unless you put it on OnlyFans. But the what was the point I was making? Oh yeah, we've seen toxicity, but then we've seen loads of Trek people come out to support people and go, hey, warning, warning, warning. And you're like going, that's kind of cool that there's people trying to protect at the same time as there's toxicity.
It was absolutely incredible because we were approached and they were wanting to come on the show, and I've only really been engaged in the Trek community proactively for about a year. Oh Christ, a year exactly, nearly. That's going to be scary. So I don't know a lot of people who have been around in the community for a long time, and I was like, I don't really know who they are. I will do my checks and I will get back to you. And people just came to the forefront. They were just like, no, we are going to, you don't want this. You don't want to go down this route. And the support that we got was absolutely amazing. And I am thankful for that. We don't endorse any type of toxicity whatsoever on Trekking Up North. All Trek is good Trek. Yes, there is some weak and there is some good. But we don't want to go down that route, like many other toxic Trek fans have done. So the support that we got was absolutely fantastic. Huge shout out to Sean from Trek Culture, who in his trademark reply was much more better than what I was doing. Can I come on? Are you joking? No. Just.
I think it's lovely though that we've got people asking to be guests on the show, and yet it's like we've kind of had to make an active thing of going like, well, we don't want like Dan and Sammy did with Monsters Up North. We're like, hey, we need some episodes where we don't have guests. Like we need to kind of be like, let's get guests on when we can, but let's, you can't be on sale all the time. So it's that idea of just like.
We do have, as crazy as it is, guys. I have planned guests as late as August the 30th, which is insane. There is so many
people.
Yeah, too many people. There are so many guests coming on. We've got the lovely James Moorhead from Twitch and YouTube coming on. We've got David from last week's episode of Trekking Up North coming back because he is far too handsome not to be on the show. He balances out us. We've just got loads of other people. We've got Mark coming back. We've got everyone coming back. It's going to be fun. But the support that we got from the Trek family, the whole Trek family on the Twitter sphere and on social media was wonderful, and I am eternally grateful for these people going, hey, don't really, he's a bit of a dickhead. So thank you so much for that. But this week, Science
Well,
Officer Synoiz.
speaking of problematic things,
Yes.
this week we're reviewing the episode Requiem for Methuselah from Star Trek: The Original Series.
Season 3, so you know it's going to be.
You warned me about season 3. You were like, "Oh, original series is great. You're gonna enjoy it." Season 3, though, and I was just like, "Oh, it can't be that bad." This is the first episode I think we've had from season 3, and you're saying it's one of the better ones, whereas this is the first time I've actually been annoyed with original series stuff, because you know the thing. I don't want to be like, what's the word that Piers Morgan's using these days, woke, to quote some fat gammon. But it's the idea of like, this is not a good episode. This is a very toxic episode where, even at the time, with it being the 60s, I would probably be like, people should be walking away from this being like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck are they doing? It's we see incel Kirk is basically the way I'm going to phrase it.
It's a very troubled episode. There are very gaping not plot holes, but just issues with it. Star Trek: The Original Series, famously, 79 episodes, 30 good ones.
Yeah,
that's normally the running joke. Season 3 was where it really took a dive. Paramount renewed it due to fan demand. Because this was a time where Paramount actually listened to their fans. Star Trek
they still didn't have merch, though. Well, they got a Spock hat eventually.
I mean, just as an aside before we get into this, because we're not going to do a scene by scene, so this is going to be a quicker episode, but this week we had the announcement that Paramount are going to be doing another Star Trek movie parallel to Star Trek 4, set decades before the 2009 movie in the Kelvinverse. Now, there is a few problems with this. One, the Kelvinverse really was only 25 years old, because obviously the Kelvinverse, it started with the Kelvin. So how can you go decades before? That's just the prime timeline. 2, why are you not listening?
I was waiting for just the why.
Why are you not? Well, I mean, an explanation would be nice, but every single Star Trek fan since since February last year have all said the one thing that they want: Star Trek Legacy. There's been petitions, over 60,000 signatures. It is constantly trending on Twitter. Everyone wants a continuation of the TNG era with 7 of 9 on the Enterprise. Not one peep from Paramount about this, not acknowledging it. Even if they just said it's not we're not considering it or anything like that, that would be brilliant. We have heard nothing. But then they come out and go, Starfleet Academy series, Section 31 movie, there is a Picard script, and we're doing a movie in the Kelvin universe that's technically not set in the Kelvin universe because it's decades before Star Trek 09.
It's a weird one,
listen?
But I wonder if they're just following the money. And they're just going, hey, we make far more money from random Hollywood movies because, they can make millions rather than a TV show. I wonder if that's the case. I wonder if they're just like going, hey, we made more money from those movies than we did from Picard Season 3 or Strange New Worlds, which is depressing, but it shows that what fans want and what the audience want isn't what's important to them, I think.
Which is crazy, because at a time when they did listen to the fans, we got Strange New Worlds, which has been critically acclaimed, recognised, awarded, and you're like, this is what you can achieve when you listen to the fans, because when you give the fans what they want, they will watch it. Whereas if you just go, look at this, and it's like, no. And we're seeing it with Star Wars, with the announcement of the new movies and the director, who has been, some would say, quite opinionated and controversial, and it's sort of like, okay, why do you know what like why are you not listening to your fans? Why are you not taking the feedback from the people that watch your stuff? It's very frustrating, And I'm not saying I'm not happy that we are getting new Trek, because we are getting Star Trek anyway, but it's like, what?
I think
it's the lack of acknowledgement that this is what the fans want. And just for someone to say, we understand, we're not going to do it, or we are looking into it, just some sort of acknowledgement that you are doing it would appease a lot of us.
It sounds really like bratty, but this is the Christmas present that you didn't ask for and you're not that bothered about. This is the, oh, that's nice, I'll just put it over here. That's how I feel about this new film announcement. When you've basically gone like, yeah, that's cool, but this is kind of what I'm looking forward to, or why did you spend the money, kind of thing.
We might be completely wrong. We might be completely wrong, and we have.
I think it'll do really well.
Yeah.
Like, loads of people like the those universe films. They're big action films, and it's good because I think it could be a good thing because it'll keep the action out of Trek. Like, it'll stop like actual, if they do Legacy, they'll stop it being a Hollywood roller coaster ride of explosions and lens flares and stuff, because they'll have gone, oh, we got all of that in this film. That's me flipping it to be positive, I think.
We could be completely wrong, and they could be working secretly behind the scenes doing all this, and they're going to reveal it on a poignant day like First Contact Day or Star Trek Day. We could just be completely self-entitled pricks going, oh, we want this. And they'll be like, well, we have been working on it. We were just trying to get these out before we diverted all the attention onto Legacy, which is fair enough.
Well, at least this doesn't go on the internet for us to be proved wrong and look really silly in the future or anything.
I'm always looking stupid. It's fine. I've got frosted.
Remember, set an alarm to delete this video in like a year's time.
Like I said, all Trek is good Trek. At least we are still getting it. But I think a lot of fans are naturally frustrated that, people have petitioned and campaigned for this for a year, and we've heard nothing but they're like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing this. And it's just like, people want to be acknowledged and listened to. And Star Trek fans have proven time and time again that when they are listened to, and when Paramount listens to them, it can be fruitful. And like I said, look at Strange New Worlds.
And this is the problem, though. It's because Paramount haven't got the things in place to actually monetize that. They obviously are looking at it being like, oh, Strange New Worlds hasn't made us much money. And you're like, what merch did you release for it?
Yes.
Oh, right. So why were you expecting to make so much money, off a thing that you put on streaming services on your own silly platform that isn't very good and frustrates me?
Merchandising has been a nightmare the past
year.
But
we've already done all the merchandising talk like last week, but it is that idea of going, I would have spent a lot of money on that had it existed, but,
just let the third parties benefit it, like Hero Within with all the jackets and all the uniforms. Let them benefit it. If you're not going to do it, let someone else do it. Anyway, season 3, Requiem for Methuselah. Yeah, let's get right into this, because this is where the Enterprise is orbiting a planet, because
Can I do the summary of this?
Oh, please do.
I want to see how quickly I can get through the summary of this episode, because half of it feels like a bad B plot that like a producer just stepped in and went, oh, hang on, we need this, So basically, there is an outbreak of Rigelian fever on the Enterprise. 3 are already dead. The only cure for it is a vaccine. Where it's like a vaccine from Vitalin. Yeah. And this is the only planet they found with Vitalin on it. So so basically they beam down. They do a scan and they're like, oh, it turns out there's human life here, even though there didn't seem to be any from orbit. I wonder what happens. Then they all get attacked by a robot. Then a guy turns up who's in control of the robot, and it's not a robot. It's like
it's a lampshade on string.
It's a lampshade on a string. Like, literally, the director's cut has the guy with a fishing rod operating it, like, in the background. No, I love it. It literally has a scene where when the guy, like, Flint appears, and he's just like, no, stand back, robot. The robot is attached to the camera, pulling back with the camera. And I'm like, someone thought that was an amazing special effect.
Jerry Anderson was sat
there.
Someone
was really pleased with themselves.
Jerry Anderson was sat there and he was just going, what are you doing?
I'm literally looking at it. They're like, they just sellotaped the robot to the camera. Like, what have they done? Just like, oh well, I might as well use the gaffer tape while I'm holding it. But yeah,
Oh,
it hasn't aged well. But yeah, basically him and Kirk get into an argument because for some reason this is offensive, but Kirk is on the rag in this episode.
Mr.
He is
Flint.
just unnecessarily angry at everyone and Flint. And Flint is just like, no, you can't get the stuff. Oh, your crew's gonna die. It doesn't matter. Humans are evil. That kind of standard fare. They have a battle of they have an argument. They both threaten to kill each other, and then basically he goes, okay, cool, you can have the right Allen, lets them into the house. Then they discover that he has a beautiful sister or daughter or woman he lives with. And then Kirk falls in love with her, and then it turns out that the right Allen they digged up wasn't correct, and they have to get some more. And then Kirk basically molests this woman because he's obsessed that she's in love with him. And then, yeah, and then basically the robot attacks them. They kill the robot. Then he threatens them by making the Enterprise small and threatens them with his power. He doesn't quite explain how he does any of this, which is quite obscure. And then they get the right Allen in the end, and they cure the plague, and everyone dies, which is basically just.
But we see throughout the episode, because the initial standoff, where they are, where Kirk is, they're both trying to call each other's bluff. And then McCoy goes, have you ever seen the effects of Rigelian fever? It's like the bubonic plague. And he's like, Constantinople, summer 1334. The rats in the streets killed half of Europe. And you're like, oh, are you
this
a student
knowledge.
of history?
Yeah, that's it. It's like this idea. Like the thing is, this episode has an amazing idea. I love the actual core idea of this. It's just the B plot that becomes the A plot ruins it. Where basically you've got this idea of you got Flint, who is this mysterious man living on this planet with this woman who doesn't seem to be all there. Like she literally, like her name's Raina, and she basically spends the entire episode walking around looking like she's left the oven on, or that she's just about to remember something.
Or
like,
watching the world's first flat screen television in 1969, which is amazing.
The entire thing is just, she's just like,
It's like I said,
it's just like, what?
It's the bar that Kristen Stewart has remained at, and it's absolutely amazing. Where it's just
Raina can't even blame Botox though, or it's just. It's Kristen Stewart like facial paralysis, I think.
But getting back to Flint, we are led all the way through the episode. This man is mysterious, and he is a collector of human antiquities, of art, of music. And Spock is examining it, and he's going, "This is a Da Vinci painting. This is by Brahms. This piece of music that I am playing on the piano." But
none of it has ever been released.
Yeah,
like it's the sort of thing of, hey, this music is Brahms. This is Brahms's handwriting in the notation, and no one's ever heard it. It is an
never been catalogued like the painting.
Unknown works of Da Vinci.
Yeah.
And it's quite good that it kind of subverts you a little bit, because it kind of goes, oh, maybe it could all be an illusion. Maybe this could be like a sort of holodeck or something. And it kind of plays with what we've come to expect from the series. And then it turns out it's actually something way cooler, which I think is like a badass kind of plot thing.
Yeah.
But then obviously we have the mystery of Flint and all of that. And then the B plot is basically this woman that he has, Kirk is in love with, and is trying to sort of get in her pants for the whole episode.
In the matter of an hour, he falls in love with this random woman on a small planet.
Yeah, who gives him nothing. It is like I've watched this episode twice now, just before I start saying shit about it. But it is the equivalent. That's why I said incel earlier, because it is the equivalent of a guy being like, "Oh, a woman looked at me across the bar. Oh, she's gagging for it," and you're just like, "No," it's literally the kindest thing she says to him in the entire episode is, where is it? Where is it? "I'm glad you did not die."
Yeah,
that is, that's
yeah. It's This woman who has apparently been with Flint for many years, who has never encountered other humans or alien races, wants to meet these humans, wants to just, oh, so that's a Vulcan. Oh, well, this Vulcan is not equal to your superior intellects. You will find him
I will actually say, I do quite like a bit of Rayna's sort of like weird racism, where basically she just goes, one of them is not human. Oh, he's a Vulcan. Ah, I must ask him. Then I must ask him about subdimensional physics. It's like going, oh, they're Chinese, are they? They can help me with my maths homework. It's like, what if he's a Vulcan that doesn't do that? He's a Vulcan. He's like an artist or something.
What if he installs double glazing? You don't know.
And she's like, oh, well, all Vulcans know subdimensional physics, obviously.
It's very typecast from a person who has never encountered the Vulcans. But again, you can sort of play that off going, yeah, but she's never encountered Vulcans. And all the Vulcans that she is read up on will be the ones who have published works on that sort of field. So she's like, oh, well, therefore, they must all be theoretical physicists. They must all be... And, it's like, oh, well... You are a human, therefore you must be a decorator. And it's like...
Well, imagine. I can't wait to speak to this McCoy about interior decorating.
What is your wallpapering skills like? I'm a neurosurgeon. So you paint with... No.
Well, I think this is also the best thing of, like, obviously Kirk being like, oh, she's in love with me, I'm in love with her, where she just totally blanks him. When she comes into the room for the first time after getting introduced, she gets introduced to them. And then she basically goes, oh, Spock, I would like to talk to you about physics and stuff. And then he's like, oh, this is Captain Kirk. And she's like, Captain Kirk? Anyway, McCoy,
I would have loved it.
So curt.
I would have absolutely loved it if Rayna fell in love with Spock instead of Kirk. Bucking the trend that in the original series where Kirk gets the woman, where it is instead Spock that she falls in love with because that's her intellectual equal.
Well, I think the point with this, I'm going to give her the agency. And this is one thing that I think is wonderful about this episode. And I don't know if the actress meant it who plays Rayna, but she gives nothing. And I kind of think that if you take the script of this episode, what is actually said could very much be that she is a person who does fall in love with Kirk, and then they get caught out and she is madly in love with him, but it doesn't work out kind of thing. But she doesn't play it that way. She plays it like she is not interested in the slightest. She gives nothing. Every moment where they kiss in this episode, she doesn't lean into him. She just stands there and he just kisses like a mannequin. And she's very much like what you would be if someone was trying to assault you in a club. You'd be like, no, or you'd be like, go away, please. That is how she plays it. And I wonder if the actress attempted this because she knew that it was just another episode where it's like, oh, look, it's a girl. She must be naturally attracted to Kirk. But it's the fact of like the script does seem to be that she falls in love with him. Even Spock goes, oh, she was in love with you. And yet the actress gives nothing. There is no indication at all that she cares for Kirk. And I wonder.
But hear me out, devil's advocate here. Is the reason why she shows nothing because of who she is or what she is, where she cannot process that, and when she's eventually able to process it, it's too late. So we won't spoil it just yet, but do you know what I mean? Where it gets to a point where Kirk is experiencing this. Kirk is expressing the emotions. She is conflicted, fighting, trying to discover what this is, and when she eventually does, when it's all revealed, it's too much.
Yeah, well, I can see that point of view, but I would argue it the other way and be like, because she's put into a catch-22, she can't find a solution out of it, because she's literally put in a position of, oh, you have to love this guy or you have to love this guy. There's no other option for you.
Yeah.
And literally, how do you deal with that? You kind of go, hey, this guy's my livelihood, and he puts me up, and he's taught me everything he knows. This guy has offered me all these opportunities and stuff. oh, but I'm not allowed to turn either of them down. What happens is basically the only way out, really. So you kind of wonder if maybe it's actually a sort of a defense mechanism from a horrible situation. Like that's how I've chosen to interpret it.
Perhaps, but we'll get to that revelation of Rayna later on, because
I'm loving this conversation.
Let's focus on Flint for the
Yeah.
moment, because the mystery all the way through the episode is, who is this Flint? He's got all these antiquities, all these things. Who is he? The records in the Enterprise can't find a Flint.
You can see in the picture below how cool he looks. Like I really like Flint. The hair may be a choice, but the outfit he wears literally looks like Becky from The Office. Not The Office, just an office that you work at. Like getting dressed up for the work Christmas party and she found something nice on Shein. That's basically the whole outfit that he's wearing, and I love it.
I thought it was Ren Fair Dunelm Mill curtain. But
he's just put that. I love the little. He's just, oh, I'll put a purple cape on. It's fine. Go on.
So the Enterprise records finds nothing about Flint, finds nothing about Rayna. The planet was purchased 30 years ago by someone called Mr. Beck. There is no record of them or anything like that. And all the way through the episode, the mystery lingers and lingers and lingers, and then it is actuated by Spock by Spock saying, yes, these are paintings by Picasso, but they are unknowns. They are not catalogued. They are used. We know it's not Picasso, Da Vinci. We know it's Da Vinci because it's the methods that he used, it's the materials that he used, it's a contemporary canvas. However, although they are not catalogued or known, they are definitely Da Vinci's. Same with the composition that of the waltz that Spock plays. It is definitely Brahms. It is done in Brahms's handwriting. It is his methods. It is 100% Brahms. So
do you know that? Can you imagine Spock when he comes across the idea of forgery? Like, this idea of, imagine him on eBay just being like, no, it's genuine. It's, it looks just like a Da Vinci.
It's a fake.
That's it. It's a fake.
He'd have found that Romulan holosuite. So it's then revealed that this mysterious human, who is human, that there is some peculiar details about his DNA. Well, although he is human, there are attributes that are concerning McCoy, whereas there is extreme aging. This human is 6,000 years old. Why is he 6,000 years old? And it is revealed that he has gone by many names over the years.
Can I just answer that question? There is no reason why he is this old. Like, that is the big plot hole of the episode, that it's like, hey, let's focus on this weird love story. Well, love story. Let's not explain how this guy is 6,000 years old.
This is a Star Trek plot hole, much like the planting of DNA on the planets across the galaxy in TNG. That this is a profound moment that is never ever discussed ever again. Never. And we'll get to that point, because it is revealed that this man was born in 3834 BC and has gone by many names: Brahms, Leonardo da Vinci, Solomon, Alexander, Lazarus, Methuselah, Merlin, or Brunson. He is...
And then nothing after then.
He is Leonardo.
he just had a bit of a rest for 200 years.
He is Leonardo da Vinci, who moved to this planet to escape humanity. And this man was pierced through the heart during a battle and found that he had instant regeneration of health and can never die. He was immortal. And this is a profound moment for Star Trek. This is like, you are meeting Da Vinci, Brahms, all these great people throughout history. That is one person. Yep.
But here's a bit of Totti, so let's focus on that.
And it turns out Da Vinci, he just wants a bit of nookie. And he is created, because he's immortal and he's been married hundreds of times and he's seen the ravages of age and he's fell in love and they have died and he has not, and he's faked his life all the way through, that he wanted someone who was an equal counterpart to him, who was immortal. So he started constructing androids, which leads us on to the B plot of Rayna being Synoiz.
A robot woman.
A robot
An android.
woman who can only have her emotions activated by a horny James T. Kirk.
Which is the thing, because that basically the plot is that because I wrote it down as like a weird plot hole, because basically what happens is Flint goes, okay, cool, you can have the right Alan. I'll get my robot to dig some up and then process it. And then they do this, and then it turns out that the right Alan's no good and there's a fault with it. And then he goes, oh, I'll dig up some more and we'll do it again. I don't know why that happens, because he does not want them there. At the point where they dig up the right Alan, he doesn't want them there. He wants them gone as quickly as possible.
The justification.
But then he still locks them there. He still sort of prolongs their visit by having this subterfuge, apparently because he wants the android to hang out with Kirk so that her emotions will be activated, because he just immediately goes, hey, Kirk is a sexy man, so he can instill emotions in her. But the problem is he does this. He must have instigated this plan when he still hated Kirk, which seems a bit of a weird one, like
it's strange, because you realize that the only way for her, because he's tried building androids, as we find, 16 times before. And he's shit at recycling, because he just puts them on a shelf like really weird dead-eyed pops. And
it's Paul's next collection thing. Dead
really
androids.
But then it's this plan of, I don't like Kirk, but Kirk can be used to activate the emotions in Rayna. So when her emotions are fully fledged and she becomes this true activated sentient android with all these complex emotions, I will then step in and be her one true love for all eternity. And it's sort of, I can't believe I'm saying this on Trekking Up North, there is a severe cuckold vibe going on with this, because it's like, the only way that she can get aroused is by another man, and then when she is, I can step in.
Yeah, it is the very much this idea of he's sitting there watching them on the monitor. That's where creepy. It's obviously like just, like her just being like sort of totally indifferent to Kirk, and then Kirk being like, I'm in love with you, and trying to hug her and kiss her and stuff. And you're like going, oh, okay, what is he getting out of this?
He fell in love with someone in an hour.
Yeah.
1 hour.
Yeah, the whole episode is just very uncomfortable, and it annoys me, because what an amazing idea. The idea that there is a guy who has lived for 6,000 years, is all of these famous people rolled into one, who keeps having to change identity throughout throughout like history and stuff, does all of their, and then they meet him and they have all these questions and stuff. Totally ignored. That is we don't find out why he is immortal. We don't know how he's done this, or what he experienced on Earth to make him sort of flee away and do that. And instead we focus on this Kirk molesting a woman story, which is
but also I am very much, all the way through this episode, I am very much on the Spock side of everything, because let's not forget, Kirk is the captain of 400 people on a ship ravaged by an epidemic, and Spock, all the way through this episode, keeps saying, we have got bigger concerns than a woman. We have got an epidemic. We have got a time factor. We need to get this done above all else. And he's the only one keeping Kirk in check throughout this episode. To basically, I mean, Kirk is...
He's so unprofessional, Kirk. Kirk is literally just like, oh, we're here. Oh, but like, I think that's the most depressing thing, that Kirk is like, oh, I will, like, oh, well, we can't stay for dinner, because basically Flint goes, hey, do you want to stay for dinner? I'm sorry about being a dick earlier. And Kirk's like, no, we have to go. And then Flint gestures, and then sort of Rayna comes out. And then Kirk immediately goes, oh, a sexy lady. She must be in love with me, because naturally she's a woman and all women love me. And then suddenly the whole plan goes out the window. He's not bothered about anything. He's only bothered about getting into her pants. And like you say, aside from the segue where Spock's playing the piano, he's very much kind of going, hey, we've got a job to do. We kind of need to do this.
It's infuriating because there is a scene when they are fighting towards the end of the episode where Flint and Kirk are fighting,
Hmm.
Spock and McCoy are trying to say, for God's sake, we've got bigger things. And he's like,
Yeah.
we are fighting over a woman. That is in the script. We are fighting over a woman.
Yeah.
This is the captain of a ship. This is a plague ship at the moment. People are dying. And
Yeah.
he is thinking with his dick all the way through most of
Wait.
this episode, and it is infuriating that he's not infected by a disease, he's not compromised, he is literally
there is no
in
reason
love.
for him to be this much of a dick in this
No,
episode. Like,
he is
even
just in
from the
love.
start, he is like, oh, I'm in such a bad mood. That's why I'm like, he's just like, why is he so angry? And maybe the scriptwriter just didn't know Kirk very well, or maybe they were like, oh, he has to be a man, like a sort of John Wayne angry man kind of thing. I don't know.
It was
It's just bad.
absolutely, it was infuriating because, like I said, every other it's not even a slight on Kirk as a character as a whole. It's just this episode, because we know from previous episodes and the subsequent movies and everything like that, Kirk will always put his crew first. He will sacrifice himself for his crew. In this episode, though, he's like, oh, 400 people are dying. Nah, never mind. I'm in love with this person I met an hour ago. And it's like...
Wait, and the worst thing for me is that he never seems to factor in how she feels at all. Like, he doesn't... Yeah, he literally just... And it's the irony of it. The fact that... Maybe irony is not the right word, but it's the fact of he calls Flint out on the stuff that he does himself. Like, the hypocrisy is crazy. Like, he goes, haha, Flint, you treated her like an object. I hate it when you order her around and stuff like that. And then he immediately is like, you have to come with me to the Enterprise, And it's like, he doesn't know what she likes. He doesn't know what sort of person she is. There's no time for any of that. He just goes, oh, you're sexy. It doesn't matter if you're interested in me. It doesn't matter if you respond to me at all. You're coming with me. And it is horrible to watch and really toxic.
But the cherry on top of this cake is at the end of the fighting where Rayna is saying stop. As soon as this person starts to feel emotion, she dies.
Yeah.
What does that say about women as a whole? Where it's just like, this person has finally discovered love. Oh, she loved more than one person. Yes, she did.
Well, I think that the thing is, is that basically this is the bad thing. I just got a note here saying Flint was Brahms, Da Vinci, Solomon, Lazarus, Methuselah, Merlin, etc. He's like Michael Burnham in terms of he did everything. He's responsible for everything. Oh, the angel's not Michael Burnham. It's her mum. Oh no, it was anyway. Never mind. So you tried to fool me, but but I think it's the fact of basically Rayna finally gets agency after being a robot, after being a drone for so long. Seeing them fight over her, she finally works out agency and stands up for herself and tells them both, I choose what I want to do, where I want to go. Do not order me. And she's not saying it to Flint, she's saying it to both of them.
Yeah.
And this is the idea. And it's a woman who stands up to being treated like an object then dies, which I find is
because she's become self.
Oh well, sorry, woman stood up for herself. She has to die.
A woman has the ability to choose death, and it's so.
Rayna decides to die rather than go with either of them. That's what I wrote down.
In Star Trek, even in the 60s, was this like, yep, that's fine. It's like, oh well, she's a robot, doesn't really matter, and it's like. But then when they get back to the Enterprise, and just to wrap up all this story, this profound revelation that this person is this iconic multiple figures throughout the history, where they're just like, oh, well, when he moved to that planet, he left the complex fields of Earth, and he's just going to live out a normal lifespan and die.
Yeah. So what we have here is basically the Enterprise as the bad guys of this episode, effectively, because they basically arrive on a planet, immediately make demands of the guy living there, end up threatening him when he tries to defend himself, ends up molesting his wife /daughter / person he lives with, or whatever, that admittedly he has feelings for, but that doesn't really factor into it. They destroy one of his robots, which is one of his main companions. Then they try to break into a part of his house, and then they get what they came for. Well, get into a fight with him, get what they came for, leave, and then he finds out that actually he's going to die. Like,
Which,
and you're just like, what?
But all of this is ironic because even in this episode, during the billiard scene, Flint says, your ship is one of colonization, of stripping planets of resources. Your ship is absolutely full of weapons and stuff. And Kirk goes, "Oh, we are one of peace, and our weapons are purely of defense." And
you did just threaten to kill him with phasers.
Yeah, and then you threatened to destroy him, his home, take his missus, destroyed one of his robots.
Who knows how many thousands of years that robot, like how many hundreds of years that robot has been his servant, and then it dies because it tries to protect a woman from Kirk, which is literally that scene.
It's just like so, oh god, and it's so season 3, and I have watched Star Trek. I am probably one of the few people of my generation where I started with the original series. I grew up from the original series all the way through. I have seen Star Trek hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And when you see them as a child and as a young person, you don't really take things into account. When you review them when you're older, you're just like, that's a really dick move by Kirk. This great captain in this episode, he's a dick. He is a massive. He has put his entire crew in jeopardy for this one
and the
woman.
Crew.
Well, yeah, his entire
and the crew in jeopardy as well
because of this one woman. And
that's the thing. Because of this incident, the guy could have literally killed them. Like the guy could have, he even threatens to kill the entire crew because of Kirk's actions. Where like the whole making the crew small and he's demonstrating
on
power.
the screen right now. Yeah, he shrinks the ship down to one of these.
And would he have done that had Kirk not have behaved how he behaves? No. So getting the crew, it's like pissing off entities, like space entities, because you can only think with your dick.
But you could have done this better by showing that Kirk, above all else, is a Starfleet captain. Get the cure done, and as the cure is being done, still have this conflict about Rayna and him and Flint, have this love triangle. You could do that, but instead they were like, no. So the jeopardy is his crew will die if he doesn't take away Flint's bit of cake away because Kirk's in love with her after an hour. And it's like...
It would have... What? This episode would have worked so much better as a two-parter. Like the Menagerie, I think it would have worked where it has a first episode that is all about the cure. It's all about the, they're getting the Rital and the Rigelian fever, and they go down to this planet, they meet this crazy guy. Over the course of the episode, they find out that he's actually, this ancient being, this like Leonardo thing, and then they meet her, and then they cure the fever, that's all done with, but then they hang around and Kirk, and then they sort of pry into, wow, how has this guy lived this long? And then episode 2 is all about sort of why he's lived this long, why he created, and then obviously the twist is, and then Kirk falling in love with her, trying to form a relationship there, and them having a relationship, and her actually starting to respond to him, like having the actress actually respond to Kirk, whatnot, and then ending with, oh, she's a robot, oh, like he dies and stuff. The fact that all of this happens while the threat of the Rigelian fever is still there makes it just seem very, why are you worrying about this when this is happening?
And even Spock points it out, which is infuriating, because that leads us to believe that the writers also knew that, but then they were like, no, Kirk is just thinking with his pants. I love how you've said, how could we make this better? For me, in terms of This would be an This would be.
Don't make it. Is this going to be your solution?
Well, no, but this would be an episode ripe for retconning, because you could say that Flint, Da Vinci Solomon, was a Lamponite. Same as Carol Kane's character from Strange New Worlds, where they're a race where they live for thousands and thousands of years. Because Carol Kane is easily 6,000 years old. I can't remember.
I love how you're not mentioning the character's name. You're saying Carol Kane specifically, the actress.
I can't remember.
Is thousands of years old.
I can't remember the name. Forgive me.
I mean, Scrooge was only the 80s, admittedly.
I'm gonna do the name. I'm gonna have to Google the name.
Pellier.
Sorry.
I just love the idea where, like, no, Pellier is just a character and stuff. Carol Kane is immortal.
But in terms, because this is the issue, guys. Da Vinci is featured in Star Trek Voyager as Janeway's holographic mentor, because one of
played by
heroes,
Jonathan Rhys-Davies, who is a little different to this guy
from Indiana Jones, Sliders.
Lord of the Rings, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I don't watch walking simulators, but it's you know, and this is a case of Voyager and the original series 30 years apart. Obviously, they could have referenced this. They never did, because everyone was like, "Oh, season 3, Leonardo da Vinci, maybe not." But again, they could quite easily retcon this by saying that he was a Lamponite, much like Pellier, who lived for thousands of years, blah, 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 and that's it. Whether or not they do that, I don't know, but it's just, they could have done it, they could have approached it better.
Yeah. At the moment, it's very weird that it's just like, oh, he was immortal. Why? No reason. Some people are just immortal, and you're like,
the complex fields on Earth meant he was immortal, right? So why did we have Star Trek Insurrection? What do you mean? Think about it.
This is what bothers me about the episode, because it's the fact of, I kind of wonder if the writers were just not, like, they wanted you to look at this a certain way, and, like, you know, because that's the thing, I never at any point during this episode get the impression that Flint is the bad guy. There's nothing about Flint that is a villain, but from the script, it looks like he's meant to be the villain, or that we're meant to be walking away thinking that he's a villain, like that he's getting in Kirk's way, or that he's, like, trapping this poor woman that he's created. Because at the end, when it just goes, oh, well, it turns out he's gonna die kind of thing, it feels like a, oh, well, there's some comeuppance for the villain kind of thing. Like, and it doesn't land for me, because you're like, oh, that's like kicking him when he's down. Like, literally,
this is a man.
The woman he's in love with, like this robot that he's created and cherished for God knows how many years, and, like, you know, taught and, like, raised effectively, is dead because Kirk came along and, like, you know, literally overloaded her circuits by sort of forcing her into a decision.
This was a man this was a man who was lonely,
and then he's gonna die.
This was a man. He left Earth because obviously animosity towards humanity. He left Earth. He was lonely. He wanted to create a companion who was equal, by all accounts. You know, who was immortal, his intellectual peer, everything like that. He just wanted to live his life in peace. They come along. They obviously
get on his lawn and burn down his house.
The planet has right talent, which is what they need. He could have just said, yes, we can purify it and we can do it and be on your way. It's just the whole. It's very problematic. It is very frustrating, and yeah, I didn't enjoy it. This is one of the more decent episodes of season 3.
Oh, really?
I did.
I mean, admittedly, I watched the one afterwards. With the space hippies. The space hippies who are searching for Eden. And that is...
And now to Eden, yeah, brother.
It's an episode. It is an episode that exists. I didn't dislike it as much as this one. Like, I didn't find it as problematic. I thought it was a bit like, this is weird, but okay, it is the original series. So I'm kind of fine with it, but it was just like, okay,
it is a good episode. The promised land is not always what it seems to be, or the grass is not always greener,
or wear shoes because grass might be acidic,
or
we're talking about the wrong episode now, but it's like we've moved on.
Use a goddamn tricorder to scan shit before you land.
Yeah. Bloody space hippies.
Just, you know. Little plug for props there. But yeah, so on the whole, problematic.
I really don't like it. Like it has a lot of cool ideas in it, this episode. Like some of the lines that I really like Raina as a character, and I'm gonna put myself on the hill of I want to believe that the actress played her in a very empowering way in an episode that is very, like, you know, puts the character as being very powerless, you know?
Oh, I hear you.
She has no agency at all, and yet the actress plays her in a way of basically, she has the best line in the whole thing, where Kirk goes, "What interests you?" And she replies, "Everything. Anything less is a betrayal of the intellect." And that's going to be my response in every Tinder profile I ever make. It's like when people are like, "What are you into?" Everything.
Every
Anything
Tinder
less
profile
is a
you
betrayal of
ever
the
make.
intellect.
How many aliases do you currently have? That's terrifying.
It's actually really weird because there's so many people that you sort of swipe left on and then they appear again with a different thing. And you're like, how many profiles have you created? It's like, and I'm swiping all of them left.
I was on Tinder once and it was just horrifying because people just treat it like Auto Trader. You must be this tall, make this much money, drive this car, be the colour blue, have less than 19,000 miles on the clock, and I'm just like, delete. And what are you? I'm a sack of potatoes. Okay. Yeah, a TOS episode coming off the menagerie, which, by the way, I love the way you said menagerie. Coming off the
menagerie,
where it was a season one, it was peak season one. We got a backdoor, we got to see the backdoor pilot for the original series. We got, we got Spock kidnapping a disabled person.
I also want to shout out to Lee and Chris, who made lots of lovely memes about that, where we had like Spock taking Pike on a roller coaster and them going on little visits.
Admiral Pike, or just instead of beeping, it was an actual sensor in the 60s because Pike was just swearing in the chair. Are you okay, Admiral? Fuck!
That's it. It's just like, we're gonna have to censor him at this rate.
But no, wow, that was it.
I just want to say before we finish, okay, I just want to go over some of the things because obviously my argument here is that Raina doesn't respond to Kirk at all this episode. Like we're saying she falls in love with him, but I'm making the argument that she doesn't. I'm making the argument that she doesn't get emotions. Like she doesn't develop emotions at all.
She
the
doesn't,
plan fails.
As soon as she does, she dies.
But I think it's more the idea if she doesn't develop emotions, but she encounters a program loop of basically going, I am in an unwinnable situation. I am in a dilemma. I'm being put into a dilemma that I have to make a decision with that I can't make a decision on. And I think that's what kills her. It's not like not being able to handle emotions. It's not that she's in love or anything like that. I think it's purely that she's just like going, what to do with an unwinnable situation, because obviously captains have to do it as part of the captain's exam.
Are you saying that the ultimate karma for Kirk, who cheated on the Kobayashi Maru, where someone experienced a Kobayashi Maru and died?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I think that. I mean, it's literally like crazy stuff. Like just like all the scenes of them together. What notes have I got made? Like, she just doesn't ever respond to him at all. She just doesn't react to him at all. And then it's like, even when she, he literally is so toxic because there's a scene where he's in the lab, like, doing his like captain's log. And then she just walks in through the door, doesn't notice him in the corner. She comes in for her own reasons, and then is like looking at the lab because she's obsessed with this door she's not allowed to go into because it contains all the robots and stuff. And then Kirk comes up behind her and goes, "Oh, you're back, are you?" It's like, oh, the room got a lot more romantic or whatever. And she's just like, "Oh, hi." Not like, she's just like, "Oh, you're here. That's cool. I'm not really that bothered." But then the hilarious thing is she says something to him it is a thirst, a flower dying in the desert. And the first time I watched it, I didn't get what she meant here, but I interpret it as when Flint is looking at her in an earlier scene, explaining that he's in love with her and that he's annoyed that she can't reciprocate it and that she can't do that. He describes his feeling as it is a thirst, a flower dying in the desert. And I think she looks at Kirk here and sees the same look in his eyes that she sees in Flint and recognizes it as, oh, you're obsessed with me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that look means. Rather than her admitting that she's thirsty or she's like in love. And I kind of like this cold acknowledgement of going, oh, another horny man. Great. And then moves on. But it's just the whole
I
thing
just
bothers me. And I love that Spock being really diplomatic. The last notes I've got, okay, is right at the end. Spock is like the mate who, when you've broken up with your girlfriend, he'll be like, oh yeah, she was a pile of shit anyway, I never liked her, kind of thing, as a way of sort of, like he's going, oh yeah, she loved you, yeah, she was totally in love with you, it's such a shame, but oh well, move on. And it feels like that kind of pep talk from a mate where he's just saying shit to calm you down.
But very much like the ending of the episode with Spock, would you want to forget all of this?
I think it's annoying because it kind of like, I would have preferred Kirk to remember. We just weird, like it kind of the whole last scene of the episode could be in a fucking kebab shop. Like it's that kind of scene where it's literally just Kirk, he's blasted off his mind kind of thing. He's got really drunk at the club. This woman rejected him. She went home and he never got a number. And now he's having a bit of a mope in the kebab shop. He's put his head on the dirty counter and he's like, oh my God. And, obviously McCoy's in the background with his fucking mixed kebab, dropping half of it. Coming in being like, hey, Spock, you're a fucking twat, you are.
Salad!
Yeah, ask for chili! But... and then Spock being like, "Oh, there, mate. She totally loved you. Oh well, plenty of fish in the sea."
I mean,
maybe you should forget.
I noted right at the end of the episode, Spock equals Control A equals delete, because whatever character development that Kirk got throughout this episode is wiped right at the end. So there is nothing to learn from this. There is nothing to gain from this. There is nothing to develop yourself from this, because Spock just goes right at the end, forget. So what was the point?
Yeah, it's annoying because I would compare bits of this episode to like Doctor Who, where no matter what Doctor Who does, you always feel like you didn't see enough of that monster, or you didn't learn enough about that monster, or you didn't get to know that character enough, And with this, I'm like, we don't get to learn enough about Flint. We don't really get enough of Rayna or any kind of development for Rayna aside from her being like, oh, I've changed now, I'm dead, and then we don't get any consequences for Kirk. We don't really get Kirk being like, oh, maybe I shouldn't treat women like objects and maybe I should put the mission first and all of this lark. So it literally just walks on to the next episode like nothing ever happened. Like they didn't just ruin an immortal guy's life, and and everything about it just winds me up. And I'm kind of glad we've had this, because loads of people talk about the original series where they're going like, oh, it hasn't aged well. And I'm like, oh, well, no, it's not that bad kind of thing. And it's nice to see an example of, oh, this is what they're referring to, rather than the amazing ones that we've had so far on Trekking Up North from the Dabber Wheel.
Yeah. What do you think to this episode yourselves, guys? Please leave a comment below. It was a very... Yeah, it was a troubled episode.
I've really stretched this one out because I feel so strongly about it.
Oh, no, absolutely. All my days, Science
Officer. We've got a poll. We've done a poll, but it'll be in the future. So it will be future you in the live chat explaining right now what the results of the poll are, I'm assuming. That's what'll be happening right now.
It will be on my Twitter at Goodwill None, and it will be in the Nerdy Up North Discord. So that will be posted as soon as I finish this in the past for you in the future to enjoy the results. Ooh, very timey-wimey. However, Synoiz, we are getting an incoming transmission.
Incoming transmission.
Don't be original series.
Oh no! The screens have
Somebody didn't
screwed.
change it from last week.
Somebody did not.
Make two of me. It can be like a transporter accident.
There has been a transporter.
No,
Well, I
oh
didn't
no,
know.
my clone.
I
My
didn't know.
twin brother is already dead.
I didn't know we were doing this. So what? I don't care. What are you going to do? Blow me down.
I'm but quarter of a man now.
You are good. Oh, look at that.
No, no.
The joys of doing things recorded. Where
Hold on, I'll try and fit into it. Hold on. Hello? It's like a giant looking for a door, being like, hello? Is anyone in there?
Whoa, that is terrifying. Let's have a look. Where are we?
The magic of television.
Oh, shut up. What is going on?
You've ruined the magic, Goodwill. It's all ruined.
Shut your handsome face. That'll do. Welcome to the double wheel of episodes, now with an adequately sized Synoiz. If you are new to Trekkin,
Massive compared to you.
I know. Well, that's what
you're like perfectly framed. I'm like, hello, hello. Oh.
You are just wow. If you are new to Trekking Up North, the double wheel of episodes is. I forgot what we do. Yes, the double wheel of episodes. We spin this every week, and whatever the double wheel lands on, we will review the subsequent week. Unless it's the end of the month, where we will do a movie.
Oh.
What are you hoping for this week, Synoiz?
I found that I put my expectations too high by saying Sub Rosa for it to annoy you or Code of Honor. I'm just wanting anything from Enterprise, anything from DS9. Yeah, Enterprise or DS9. We've had a Voyager one. Yeah,
we've had everything, but Enterprise.
We've had an unruly amount of TNG and original series. So let's see what happens. I mean, I'd be interested if we actually get a movie, to be fair.
Well, if we do, we're gonna have to spin again because
we're already doing one. Okay,
we are doing a movie a month, starting with a motion picture in a couple of weeks' time. Oh. So yay, 70s spandex. Are you ready to spin the wheel?
Come on, are we all ready in the chat to yell Dabo?
We have to say Dabo. As soon as it lands, we go Dabo, when it lands. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Spinny, spinny, spinny! Oh my god, if this lands on Sub Rosa,
Code of Honor. Code of Honor.
Come on, and double!
Oh, it's actually finally a fucking DS9
Deep Space Nine Bar Association. Yes!
Is this the Union one?
I'm pretty sure it is, where Chief O'Brien is a Union man.
Oh.
I'll get the synopsis up for you guys.
Can we just bring up that thumbnail? That thumbnail is the best thing in the entire world. Just Rom being like...
The thumbnail is on screen so everyone can see it. It's absolutely amazing. Let me go back
I'm
to the
so
main
happy
screen.
we have a DS9 episode.
Oh, Bar Association. Let me get the synopsis up for this. Season 4, Episode 15 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The synopsis is, after being forced to work while he is ill, Rom relies on the employees of Quark's Bar to form a union and demand better hours and salaries. Holy shit, I think we can safely speak for everyone in Nerdy Up North where we're like,
This is a good episode.
This
right,
is so
everyone, you have to watch this. It is available on Netflix. It is available wherever you can watch Trek.
Paramount Plus, Netflix.
Yes.
Dodgy, DVD, VHS, Seance, everything. It is.
Seance?
This is, right, our love of Star Trek Deep Space Nine runs so deep. Because
deeper than Lee. Deeper than Lee.
Oh, I mean, I'm elbow with Lee.
It's 15
shoulder.
inches at least in. That's, you know.
Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek series ever created thus far. Anyone who watches it, or they say they are watching through Deep Space Nine, we all say the same thing. Watch all 7 seasons and come back to us and tell us how it changed your life. Because it is chef's kiss. I love Bar Association as well. I love it. I love it. I can't wait. I'm so happy.
It's a great one. It has everything in it. It literally has everything in it. We have Lita, we have Rom, we have a lot of Quark being Quark. You know, it's an amazing episode for an amazing cast, I think.
Oh, I am so happy we got Deep Space Nine. This is brilliant.
Is this our first? No,
It is our first Deep Space Nine.
Really?
It is
After
our
a year?
first. Yep.
Surely we've had another one.
No. Nope. We have had. This is the first Deep Space Nine episode.
I'm happy with this. Thank you, Dabo Wheel Gods.
Yes, because I was sick to death of the original series.
I was almost going to fix the wheel so it gave us like something that wasn't TNG original series.
It was
I'm
an
glad I didn't
enterprise
have
because
to.
no one wants me to sing the theme tune live on air. That's what it is.
What we need to do it like it's the national anthem. When we get an Enterprise episode, we play the full theme, and we just stand here, like, you know, sort of like doing the Vulcan thing. We just stand here being like, for the full then.
Still showing more emotion than Rayna.
And yeah, there's no animation of the Starfleet flag being raised, you know.
Oh my god. I am
It
so
has
happy.
been a long road.
Getting from there to here.
Getting to a DS9 episode, bloody hell. But yeah,
I can get
thank
my
you
Deep
everyone
Space
for
Nine
putting up with me getting annoyed. But I think I'm quite pleased that I didn't like an episode. That an episode rattled me this much that I've been so harsh about it. Like, and I think that's something that's really good because it's great to be passionate about something, you know, and hopefully my slander of this episode is constructive rather than me just being sort of like, oh, he's being nasty to women, oh, what a bastard, you know. Because yeah, if it added to the plot, you could be like, okay, that's a cool plot line, but all it does here is make Kirk seem like a dickhead. You know?
It's not that we hate the episode or anything like that. It's they could have done better.
Yeah,
and
Flint's a cool character.
You know, the mantra is all Trek is good Trek. That's fine, and I stand by that. All Trek is good Trek. However, there are some elements that could be done better, and I'm not going to mention any names. But next week,
Discovery Season 5 is coming out later in the year, by the way.
Next week, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Bar Association. We get Rom, we get Quark, we get Chief Miles Edward O'Brien, Union Man. Jesus. Oh, I'm so fucking happy for this one.
I might watch this before I go to bed and then watch it again next week.
I'm gonna
because I've got to pack my bags and be up early for going to DragCon tomorrow. So I'm thinking maybe this is going to be the thing I watch before I go to bed.
I am going to do the promotion for this tomorrow, and then on Saturday, I am going to upload the live episode for Friday. That's how excited I am. I am going to get everything ready for this. I don't have a TNG. Shit, I don't have a DS9 uniform. I'm going to have to modify something. I will find a way.
I love the OCD here where you're like, no, I need the right uniform.
Well, I'm in the wrong uniform this week purely because I haven't done the washing. So, the week after, we are doing our first movie review, which is Star Trek The Motion Picture, which Synoiz has watched this week already and has gone, it's very 1970s.
Have you liked my criticisms that I've sent over about it?
I do, because they're very constructive. They are very, very constructive. It's 1 and 5 are widely considered the movies.
I think the what I found watching it is that it's like it felt like they didn't want to do a Star Trek movie and then they just got something else and then put Star Trek on it. Like it feels like that kind of they put branding on it, so it feels very weird that it was to think that it was specially written to be Star Trek on the big screen, you know?
It wasn't. It was a discarded original series script. So
it does feel like an episode stretched out to a film. It does feel like a half-hour plot.
We will learn more about Star Trek: The Motion Picture when we review it live.
Who are we doing it? Are we doing it with Mark? Was that confirmed, or are we just doing it?
Not saying who it's going to be.
Okay,
with. That is under wraps for now. Mark will be on. Nice little segue, by the way. Congratulations on that. Mark will be on this Sunday's episode of the Nerdy Up North podcast with myself, with Paul, with Sonia, with Sammy, as we review Serenity. Absolutely amazing film. Wow. Yeah, I really need to rewatch Serenity before that episode. That's going to be so much fun. That is this Sunday on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel, live at 7:30 p.m. GMT, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Not 11:30 p.m. as I kept saying to Mark, and Mark was like, "Are you going to make me stay up until 11:30 p.m.?" To which I went, "You did it to me!" So...
He'll be like, do you know how difficult it is to record from a shop at that time of day?
It's not a shop, it's a dental office / spa / yeah.
Where's he gonna be? It's like where's Wally? I'm like, where's Mark gonna be today for the recording? He's at the golf club, It's like, oh,
where's Cartier?
He's in space, And it's just like it just keeps getting more surreal each time.
Has he gone full Tim Curry in space?
Space. Speaking of silliness, I will actually be. I think it's Monday we're doing it. I will be on with Jake and the gorgeous Viking demigod Adam on the Ramblecast next week. I think it's airing on Monday, or maybe I don't know if it's pre-recorded and goes out later, but it'll be sometime next week.
Have they constructed a camera capable of capturing Adam's raw beauty yet?
No. Only my eyes can capture that.
Oh dear, he has the world's most perfect beard, and yeah.
I quite like it though. That like Adam really takes time with his beard. Like it's one of these things of like being nicely sort of, nicely sort of like taking care of yourself. Like there's the whole thing. There's something to be said for vanity and taking it too far. There's something to be said about not making any effort whatsoever. I'm sitting right here. Look at this mess. I think Adam's right in the middle of being like he wants to look nice, and I think it really works.
There's looking nice and then converting heterosexual men. But anyway, this is... he's still not Anson Mount though.
Okay, Adam or Anson Mount? Is it even a choice?
Why not?
Is
both?
It even a decision?
Why not both?
Wow. Okay. Well, Vegas is looking up.
Nice
little
segue to a current topic on the Nerdy Up North community, which you should all join on Facebook. Shows that were cancelled that you would like to see come back, and I fastidiously maintained my position of due south with Anson Mount as Anson Mounty.
Which... I love how that isn't. That came before Enterprise.
What?
That shows that were cancelled that shouldn't have been, and then you're like, no, due south, and I'm like, surely Enterprise, nah.
Enterprise will come back. Enough. I'm confident that Enterprise will come back. There will be a way. However, due south needs. I'm in love with Anson Mount. Anyway, guys, this has been this week's episode of Trekking Up North. I would like to thank my delectable Geesian Science Officer Synoiz for being with me on this recording. Until we see you live next Friday, stay safe, everybody. Look after yourselves. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
Bye.